Esmeric Art Studio. Today's project is another 8x8 little canvas, and for this one we are mostly going to work with copper. You don't necessarily have to work with copper if you want to follow along. You can also use aluminum or pewter for this project. So let's get started. First, we're going to use matte gel. So with the matte gel, you're also going to need a paintbrush. And if you don't have matte gel, you can use any other gel or even Mod Podge for that matter. It will give you exactly the same effect. We're going to use some kind of metal tape, and the metal tape is just to cover the sides of the little canvas. I'm going to use the copper tape, but you can use plain metal tape as well. You're going to need some or other die cut. This is from the Tim Holtz Dragonfly. I will link below some sketches of other little items that you can put on here. I can't do this one exactly, but something similar to this. Oh, and once I've die cut it, I've just ran it through my little Cuttlebug on a embossing folder. But if you do have one, you can run it through as well. Alternatively, you can just draw any other designs on there. We're going to use some glue to put everything together, and I have a little disc here, a wooden disc. It's just when I adhere this to the canvas, I would like to raise it, and I find these little discs, I just keep on cutting them up in little slits and it works perfectly. We're going to use some distress ink and also some Vintaj, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Ranger. It is patina for metal. So we're going to use 3 colors of that. And then of course we're going to use paper as well as our little 8x8 canvas. Mine already have a very thin layer of gesso on. And the paper I'm using today it breaks my heart every time when I tear a page out, but it's from encyclopedias that we have when our kids were still growing up. We're trying to donate them to libraries and historic places, bookstores and things, and nobody wants them. They just say to us, take it to the dump and go and dump it. So I thought, well, you know what, I'm rather going to use it in my art. And again, it makes my heart so sore, but yeah, it's not there. Everything is now online. So yeah, that is the basic things. Down the line we might need something else, but for the most part this is what we are going to need to get started. I've already gone ahead and I have measured roughly a piece of tape that will wrap around my canvas just with a little bit extra, and I'm running it through my Cuttlebug. So I usually, most of my embossing folders, I cut a slit in on the top, and specifically for when I'm working with the tapes, that I can get a long continuous one. So I will just put it down and run it through the Cuttlebug. And if you don't have a Cuttlebug, you can also use a big shot. It doesn't really matter which one you have. I'm sure it will work with any of those. And so then I just move it down. So you will always have sort of a seam where the end of the folder is. I know there is some ways, I always look at that and ways how to eliminate that, and then by the next time I use it again, then I completely forgot how it was done. So I just run with it, and I just think it just adds some extra interest to the design. So I've already started with this one. So this one I'm just going to do a little bit over there. I started from the one end and then it was just too difficult, so then I decided to work from the other end. So now I have the whole piece that has been embossed. So this will most probably be the last thing that we're going to do once everything is done. Next step is, just because it's torn out of the book on this side, I'm just going to try and give it a little bit of a tear on this side. I don't know if this is going to work. Yeah, it looks like it. You can also do this freehand. Yeah, I'm not particularly worried about these ones because it's going to cut off around about there and there, so then I will just tear that. And next is just, you know, using some distress ink, and I'm using the Vintage Photo from Ranger Autumn Holds. I was actually thinking of using the Distress Oxides, but that takes a little bit longer to dry on paper, so I thought, no, I'm just not going to do that. And I'm literally just going to smear it over the place. I mean, you can really work in different ways. It's all depend on, you know, how you would like the look, or the look that you would like to have. I'm just adding some on the sides here. You can also go in with one of the applicators and, you know, do it that way. Yeah, I think that looks not too bad. Yeah, it's, you know, again, you can come in with these little ones with the sponges on and work with it that way too. But just get some color on there, not to be the stark white. So once this is done, we are going to bring in our canvas, and we're going to start adhering this to our canvas. Then I've changed my mind. I've decided I'm going to tear this sides too, and the reason just being just so that there is going to be an open space on all four sides. That's a nice thing with art. You can always keep on changing your ideas as you are going, or as your project is evolving. Okay, so let's see, go a little bit there. Now, one thing that I've learned was, when you do this, just always see if there, what wording is on the page that you are using. The one time I did something, and when I looked down, it was like, oops, no, I can't use this on the project, so I had to start over again. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm still going to use the Distress ink, and I'm just going to run it along the sides here as well, just to get a little bit of definition. And again, you know, if you don't want to use the pad like this, you are more than welcome to use the little applicator that is specifically for this. I'm just going to go in like this. For that matter, you can actually also use your finger and, you know, just add some interest with your finger as well. So it looks like the sides looks okay. Let's just double check once out. This one, yep. It just makes a huge difference that it's not that just stark white. I think, although this is going to be covered with tape, I still think I'm just going to run it on the sides here as well, so that if there's a spot where the tape miss, then it's not just the white of the and I think this is going to be it for now, and then we can move on to working with the matte gel and adhering our paper. Okay, so matte gel, oh, and this one is basically done. I thought there was still a little bit in, but it's, as I say, full of emptiness. Okay, so that was a little bit much. Ooh, this is still a little bit too wet as well. I just add some matte gel to your canvas, the whole area, even the parts that the paper is not going to adhere to. And place your paper. Just a note, just make sure that it's the right way up. Well, actually it doesn't really matter, because you can always turn it around at this stage. If you do put your writing upside down, that can still be rectified. However, once you put your design on, or your but it will have to be, you will have to make sure that it is the right side up. So again, just going to put some of this on and cover the whole area. See there, it slipped a little bit. So most probably there wasn't enough. Just push it out to that way there. And there you go. Just make sure you get a good coverage, or you cover your paper completely. Just work it out with your fingers well if you see any bubbles. But then again, you know, it all depends how you want to feel about it. I usually don't mind if there's a bubble or two. You can even come in with something like a needle and just pop the bubble. Of course, now it won't pop. Just to give it that spot for all the air to go out. It's not going to be that noticeable. I mean, don't make a whole big hole in there. But yeah. So I think I'll just go over with my finger. And there you go. So this is going to be off to the side to dry, and we're going to start working on our metal embellishment that's going to be on here. Next, I'm going to be adding color to this, and with this you can actually mix the colors beforehand. I'm just going to use them on my splat mat. I maybe need a little bit more than that. The thing is, just with these colors, they dry very quickly, so don't take too much out. And they are opaque. You can also use alcohol inks for this. I just want to have a little bit of a more solid effect. And let's see, let's start. Just pull that up with a little bit of the blue. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to paint this on, and I'm also going to wipe it off again, because I just want it to be like a patina. I don't want to have too much color on my dragonfly. There's different ways. You can just wipe it, or I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in with a piece of paper towel, and I'm just going to dab, dab, dab. Oh, it's already starting to go to dry, so I actually think I need to wipe it. I wanted to go in to have sort of an effect like this, but lesson learned, next time I want to do that, I will need to do that as I'm going and not wait and paint everything. So I'm just wiping quite a bit of this away. So the whole idea with the paint is just to give it a patina effect. I could have used copper patina. It works best when you try and also just rub it in the same direction all the time. Now this thing is really dry. So I wonder if I spray a little bit of water, if that's going to help. Nope, not much. But that's the nice thing about art. It is, you know, you can start from scratch again, or you can just live with what you have and make best of it. Actually, the water does give it a little bit of, does take some of it off, so it's not as prominent. And always check up against your canvas to see. Yeah, that looks not too bad. I think I would like a little bit more of the green. It is just very blue for me, so I'm still trying to get some of this off. So I think I'm going to come in and Don't know if this is going to work, and I'm just going to dab, 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 dab a little bit of green. That didn't work too well, but let's get another bit out here. Just see. Oh, actually, if you just dab and then wipe it off, that works. So dab, dab, dab. Paint. So it's almost like wax on, wax off. So rub on, rub off. I think it's always nice how you remember certain things from certain movies, and every time when I do things like this, I always think about the Karate Kid, where it was wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. I think, oh, that's what I'm busy with. Okay, let's just see. Oh no, that's too much. Oh, it's way too much green. That one there as well. I definitely think I like this better than with just the blues. Yeah, the light in the studio is with the weather that we're having here in BC, where we live with all the rain. It's like really crazy. So yeah, so it's got the blues and the greens. Excellent. So that part of the project is done now. For the copper tape, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this pen through a couple of times, and then I'm just going to move this around on here and wipe it off. I won't do the whole tape in one go because it is going to be drying before I will get time to have that, and I just want to have a hint of patina or aging on there. I guess for that matter, you can also use the Vintaj paints for that, but being that they dry so quickly, I don't think I would use that. So I'm just going to go in and do this whole area. Again, just move it around a little bit and then wipe almost all of it off. You can actually just leave it the same copper, but it just gives it that sort of old antique kind of feel. So for the amount of black that you leave on the tape, that is absolutely personal as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom, because usually when you do, it's always best to start at the bottom. So again, make sure where is your writing, the right side up, and then we're going to start adhering the tape. I thought I was going to do it last, but then I was thinking, no, I don't want to turn it upside down and on the side. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to line it up right up until the edge there. And I'm going to press it down. Don't worry about the ones that is hanging over. We're going to deal with that later on. So when you flatten it or adhere it, some of the embossing will go down, or you will flatten some of it, but you will still have some of the texture there. You're just going to go around and I'm going to place it there. And you can do little by little, or you can do the whole side in one go. It all depends what works best for you. And I just These things aren't as straight as what it used to be. Oh, there you go. And again, so I'm quickly going to do the other sides as well until I get back to the bottom to join them up. Okay, and I'm in the home stretch here. When you put on the tape and it sort of creases on you, don't worry about that. It just gives some extra texture, unless you are a perfectionist, because that might be really, really, really bothersome. But other than that, there you go. So when it comes to the sides, to fold that over, what we're going to do is you're just going to take some scissors and you're going to cut it right up until that point. So in that corner, you're just going to cut it open. There's different ways that you can do it, but I just find this is the easiest way personally to do it. I'm going to cut that, and I usually try and see which is my top and my bottom, and I would do the sides first. And now it's just going in, and you are going to fold it over. Oh, this one even folds over a little bit to the back too. And going to the opposite side, it's actually best to start, that one I didn't, but it's actually best to start in the center and work your way out to the sides. So as for the next sides that you will be folding over, this is where you can make a decision. You're either just going to keep it straight, so it goes straight there. Personally, this is where I always just like, the same as what you are doing some gift wrapping, I just cut it at a little angle there. So as I said, the same as with gift wrapping, just gives it a little bit of a neater finishing. And again, once that is done, just going to fold it over and flatten it. Start from the center and work it out and flatten it. And of course we're going to do the same with the last side. And there you go. So now all your sides is done. What I would suggest is use a paper stump or your thumb and just go over everything like this, just to make sure that you don't see any gaps on the side when you look at it, that it is safely adhered. Okay, so I'll just get that out the way, and next up is I'm just going to cut a strip of this away. So I just have to see more or less how wide. Oh, not very wide. And again, as I said, I cut them in these little strips, but I'm all out of them now. So I've cut it off and it looks a little bit wonky, but just take some sanding paper and just smooth it out. And also, if you don't have something like this, what works well is popsicle sticks or these craft sticks that you can buy from any store, or even toothpicks. You know, you get the toothpicks that's a little bit wider, more the cocktail sticks that is a little bit wider in the back, so you can actually use them as well. Anything that gives you height, because you just need that little bit of height so that you can have some dimension on your canvas as well. I've dried this with my heating gun because I just could not wait for it to dry by itself, because it takes quite a bit of time to dry, and I'm talking about the matte gel. So I'm going to put this down there, and actually blends in very well like this. I still think I'm going to give it a little bit of a go over with this. And this is the, again, the Distress ink, the Vintage Photo. And I specifically tore it at the top and the bottom so that I can have the sides the same. And then I forgot to add this on the ends there. So, yeah, things like that do happen. But at least it's uniform. This two sides are the same, and the top and the bottom is the same. Things. Okay, so ready for assembling. And what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to add some glue to this little stick and glue that to the back of my dragonfly. Just give it a minute or two to set. And then we're going to add some of the glue on the opposite side and close the glue. The one day I let my glue down like this, upside down, and I didn't close the lid, and half the bottle ran out. And I'm just going to get more or less the center here of where I would like to place. And there you go. Our project for the day is done. I've already put my name on. And I was first thinking of doing these in copper as well, but then I decided, no, I'm just going to stick with the pewter, and I'm going to do. So yeah, that is our little canvas, a quick and easy way. So when somebody look at it from the side, they are going to see the copper there, and you're going to have the copper here. It takes time. This glue just takes a couple of minutes to set. But it's a really wonderful glue because you can use it on so many different things. Our dragonfly little canvas looks really nice. Well, I usually think everything looks very nice, and especially the accents on the side. I think that it just added that extra touch to a project when you work and you think about the sides as well as the back. So thank you for spending time with me in the studio, and until next time, always remember, the world of reality has its limits. The world of imagination is boundless.